All right, folks, today we're taking a look at TRIAS, cryptocurrency analysis and prediction. I had a lot of requests for this one here recently, so welcome back to Crypto Cash. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis. Before we take a look at TRIAS, I just ask you go ahead and consider subscribing to get notified as soon as these videos are released. It gives you a head start so you can effectively plan out your trades and make an informed decision. I have years of trading experience, and my goal here is to share my knowledge with the cryptoverse, so thank you very much for tuning in. I always like to start off with the fundamentals, then dive deeper into the technical data. I also provide you with action plans for the future so you know what I would do in each scenario as a day trader and a swing trader alike. So be sure to stick around to the end for my recommendations. Also, please note, this is not financial advice. This video is designed for educational purposes only. Now let's get started with the fundamentals. TRIAS stands for Trustworthy and Reliable Intelligent Autonomous Systems. It's an all-platform supported server, PC, mobile, etc. native application compatible smart contract execution platform, development framework, and collaborating system. The max supply is 10 million, market cap 7.4 million. Today's high is $5.80. Today's low is $3. It's an increase of approximately 51%. I could not believe how many requests I had recently to cover this coin, so thank you to my community, my subscribers, for the recommendation. I also promise to get to all of my other requests as soon as possible. I try to cover these videos based on the amount of requests that I get. So more popular ones tend to go to the top just because I want to make sure to make you happy and obviously ensure that we all grow our wallets, because sometimes catching these newer, nicer ones can be very beneficial. Now, in regard to the price for TRIAS, it's changed dramatically over the past 36 hours. On April 15th, it blew past its previous all-time high of 281 to reach its highest point of $5.80. Since then, it sold off a little bit to bounce off the previous resistance of $2.81. Now it's on the move again, so it's going to soon test its recent resistance level. The major resistance level is $5.80. Secondary resistance is $4.60. The major support level is $2.81. Secondary support level is $3.15. And now for the technical analysis. For my day traders out there, as you can see on the 15-minute chart, TRIAS has spiked up twice in the past 12 hours, practically without warning. The only indication is the moving averages. As soon as it rose above the 50-day moving average, it spiked up massively. This type of volatility can be hard to anticipate. However, if we look for other patterns you might be able to identify, if you also look at the last sell-off, just say on the 16th, you can see that when the price dropped below the 100-day moving average, it had a massive sell-off. So this does imply the moving averages are fairly important, so be mindful of this moving forward regardless of what trading style you prefer. It might continue this trend. The VWAP is currently working as a support level. Just be mindful of the variance. It's rather high right now, so prepare for another sell-off or consolidation, depending on what happens with the moving averages. Pay extra close attention to how the moving averages are tested soon. So here's my action plan as a day trader in today's climate. I would first wait for the VWAP, or 50-day moving average, to be tested before taking a position. And when I say tested, I'm referring to waiting approximately 30 minutes. That's a safe place for me. I'd like to see two full 15-minute green bars, at least fully closed green bars. They don't have to be capped out in the candles. They can be small little wicks, but I do like to see at least 30 minutes worth of activity in the direction I'm heading. Based on the previous price action, I would only add a small amount of my initial position, maybe 25%. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm a huge proponent of making sure that I take entry only after the support or resistance levels are tested a few times. It could be major support, major resistance. It could also be a VWAP that is holding for 30 minutes. Now, if you jump in before the price has a chance to level out, you do run the risk of losing a lot, and I've been burned a few times, so I try to avoid that. I do not recommend you take entry if you do not have all the appropriate indications. That said, once I get the indication of a buy signal, I would go in 25%, but only 25. The reason I wouldn't go 50% or higher is because the price action being the way that it is. Anytime the price action spikes up like this, I always am very cautious and try to find as many indicators as possible, because sometimes it can be kind of it can be very iffy when you're this close to a recent price spike. Now again, it's had a couple of days to kind of consolidate and and do its thing, so it's not terrible, but I do prefer to be a little safer. I don't love day trading currencies like this, specifically when it spikes up or down, followed by short consolidation periods. Regardless, to find the best entry, I would then switch over to the 1 minute chart to pay close attention to how the volume weighted average price, the VWAP, is reacting. If the VWAP is acting as a support level, after 30 minutes, I would add to my position. If the price rejects and drops below, I would sell, take my small profit, and call it a day. The key here is to not go all in immediately after a violent price increase or decrease. Just trust me on this. Be a little patient. You'll be happy that you did. On the inverse, if I get the indication the price is going down, then I would, as per usual, pay close attention to the support level established by the VWAP and also the support line if it drops below. If the variance is large enough for it to break and stay below the VWAP first, I would then take a small position and wait for the RSI to indicate the price is considered overbought. Typically, anything under 45 is a good entry point for me. I also like to remember to ensure the MACD is trending downward and losing momentum, and it hasn't hit its peak yet. If so, I'd consider this pretty much a best case scenario, and I would just make sure to remember to average down by selling small portions of my total so I can effectively take profits whenever possible in case the price corrects itself. For my swing traders out there, taking a look at the 4-hour chart, I want to note the moving averages first. Simply put, they don't have any effect and will not for some time until they catch up with the price hike. That said, let's look at the relevant indicators instead. First things first is the RSI. Taking a quick glance here, you can see it's still considered overbought at approximately 75. This is not the best indicator to go along. I prefer anything under 70 personally. Also, the MACD is trending upwards. This is a positive technical sign. However, depending on what happens with the resistance and or support levels, the momentum could shift. So don't put a lot of weight or value into this, this indicator. Okay. The overall sentiment is still very bullish, though, so be mindful of that. The best thing to do in situations like these, though, is to always use a smaller time frame. Anytime the price hikes up like it did, we must be very careful to not feed into the hype. I can't stress this enough. Don't jump all in. Don't be a don't be an ape, or is that what they call it nowadays? Don't just jump in and hope for the best. Use the indicators that are here for you and make an informed decision. And don't go all in ever if you're swing trading or day trading. Okay, you're going to hear me say that a lot, and I apologize to my supporters already, my subscribers. If you have heard me say this a million times, I'll say it again. Never go all in unless you're planning to hold on for, to say 15 to 30 days or longer. So here's my plan to swing trade TRIAS today. If I was feeling bearish, I'd wait until after the RSI is overextended in the 80s and the price hits the resistance level and bounces. And then, of course, holds for approximately 30 minutes. Which is basically two 15-minute red bars. Once I get the indication of a sell signal, I would only put in about 20% of my trade position until I keep getting confirmation it's moving down. I always love to sell in small positions, so I typically sell in the same percentage that I enter. In other words, I sell 20% at a time as I exit. This ensures I'm always profitable, and I don't get burned half as much as I used to by going in to say 50 or 100% of the time. Sure, I do miss some opportunities. Trust me, there are missed opportunities there. But I'd much rather be profitable, even if it's only a half to 1% per day, instead of losing 2 to 3%, which is very possible if you go all in. Now, for a long position, which I prefer to do, I would like to wait for the VWAP on the 15-minute chart to get tested at least twice, possibly 3 times. So we're talking 15 to 30 minutes minimum, preferably 30 to 45. Okay. Now, this just ensures the price is staying consistent. I would then take a small position, only about 20%, after the VWAP bounces and stays above support, and again, is closing preferably 2 to 3 green bars. Okay, now I prefer the 2 to 3 green bars. I say this a lot, mostly because the fact that the price action was so severe recently that you really need to wait longer for confirmation. The next indicator I would use is to see if the resistance level is tested. In this case, the first potential resistance is what, $4.60? And you guessed it, before I enter and add to my position, I would wait to get confirmation by verifying another, just say 30 to 45 minutes. Some people think that that's too long, but to me, being patient in this industry is extremely important. And if you can steel yourself and hold a position for that long, it's very important, right? So it's good to be smart. It's good to be savvy, I guess you could say. It's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but I can assure you if you stick with it, you'll be good. But the best thing about it is if you don't go all in, you don't have as much risk, right? So less risk, less reward. Yes, that's true. But what's the point of, potentially risking your entire size of your wallet when you could just gain small percentages here and there? That's how I prefer to do it myself personally. Maybe let me know in the comments below what your trading style is and what you prefer, but this works very well for me, so I might recommend you consider trying it. And if you do, let me know if it worked for you. Now, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you set a target, and if you don't hit your target, just get out and take your profit. There's nothing worse than being up 5% and then losing 4 of that 5% because you were too greedy and tried to wait for it to bounce back and recover. The key to being a profitable trader is to survive to trade another day. So all we're doing is surviving. I'd be so much happier if you were to just get a 1% gain every single day instead of trying to shoot for a tumultuous, 5% gain or a 4% loss. You don't want to do that. Only take small wins if you can get them. And obviously, if you take little losses, that's okay too. Just make sure they're smaller, which is why you don't go all in all the time unless you're holding on for dear life. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you know that I'm going in with this amount and I'm going to hold on for 30 plus days. That's okay. But if you're on a shorter term swing trade or a day trade, you cannot go all in. Trust me on this. It works. Now, if you find benefit from this content, please like and subscribe. Feel free to join me on Telegram, Instagram, or Twitter. We do have a chat channel there as well in case you'd like to ask some questions, get engaged in the community. Also, comment below and let me know what positions you're holding and if there's anything else you want for us to go ahead and cover. Is there any other currency you want for me to analyze? Be more than happy to do so. I typically analyze currencies based on their recommendations. So if I get 5 or 10 requests for one specific currency, I'll cover that first. That's why you see a lot of recent increase in price currencies, because a lot of people are asking for those because they're not sure exactly how to approach that. And that's fine. But I want to just make sure we cover everything. So please let me know. I'll be happy to cover it in due time. Just comment below. Let's go ahead and figure this out. We'll work together, grow together. Let's all build our wealth, right? That's the whole point of this. So thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you again soon in the next video. Take care.